It looks like Rabbi Lerner's coming on.
The rabbi
Okay.
let's start the shiur, Rabbi say.
Good evening. How's everyone doing?
Baruch Hashem, Rabbi, how are you?
Baruch Hashem. I hope everyone is well.
Thank you. I hope you're well too.
So tonight we're going to learn, since we find ourselves in the 3 weeks between Shav'as B'Tammuz and Tisha B'Av, times of a semi-Avelos. So one of the things the Rebbe encouraged was to learn during this time halachas associated with the Beis Hamikdash. It says whoever learns about the Beis Hamikdash, it's as if he built the Beis Hamikdash. So this time we're mourning for the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. We should learn dinim associated with the Beis Hamikdash. So tonight I like to go through some of those halachos. There's a lot of halachas. We're just going to cover some of them, and we'll use the Rambam as our base to discuss these halachas. The Rambam has, I believe, 10 chapters on Hilchas Beis Abechira, which is the way the Rambam terms Beis Abechira is the chosen house, which is the Beis Hamikdash. And he goes to at length to discuss all the details about the Beis Hamikdash. So I think we should start from the beginning and read some halachas, and we could discuss them. And at least we'll have some awareness about the inyan. And this will help us be mekayim, the inyan of learning about the halachas of the Beis Hamikdash. So the first thing that Rambam lets us know is the Rambam. Does everyone see the screen that I'm showing? Okay, yes. Good. Okay, so the Rambam writes over here in the middle, you see where the mouse is, Perek Rishon Mitzvah Say, last says Beis Hashem. It's a mitzvah in the Torah to make a house for Hashem. Muchan liyismaku mekarbanis, the house is prepared and set up in order you should be able to bring karbanis to Hashem. V'choygin elav shalish pam b'shana. And 3 times a year, we celebrate and we bring karbanis in the Beis Hamikdash. Shenemar, like it says in the pasuk, v'asu li mikdash, you should make for me a mikdash. So that pasuk, v'asu li mikdash, is the pasuk which tells us when that there is such a mitzvah essay of making Hashem a mikdash. Now, the Torah itself describes the Mishkan that Moshe Rabbeinu made, how it was supposed to be built, and all the kelim. V'hayil lefisha was a temporary structure. Shenemar, like it says in the pasuk, ki levasem ad ata, you have not yet come el hamanucha v'la nachla. You have not yet come to your resting spot, to your inheritance, and the Mishkan is only a temporary structure. Now, something interesting is that the Rambam and the Ramban differ as to what is the Iker in the Beis Hamikdash. What's the Iker Avodah?
There's nothing on. Wi-Fi is on. There's nothing on. There's nothing on. It doesn't need. No, that's
Is everyone okay? Now, the Rambam describes the Beis Hamikdash as we just read. At the point of the Beis Hamikdash is Muchan liyos makrivim boy karbanis. It's a mitzvah to set up a Beis Hashem ready to bring karbanis in it. The Rambam learns that the Iker is the Mizbeach. The Iker is the Avoida of the Beis Hamikdash is the karbanis. However, interestingly, the Ramban says the Iker of the Beis Hamikdash is the Makam of the Shechina, which is in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, the Arin. That is the main point, that there should be a Beis, a Makim for the Kodesh for the Arin, for the Luchais. There should be a home for Hashem. And that's the Iker of the Beis. So that's an interesting point to bring out, a chiluk between the Rambam and the Ramban as to what is the purpose of the Beis Hamikdash. As well, the Mishkan. You know, in its time, the Mishkan was the Va'asuli Mikdash. But that was temporary. Like we say in Sif Beis, in Halacha Beis, the Rambam writes, Kiban shenichnusu la'aretz, hemidu hamishkan begilgal. Since they entered into Eretz Yisrael, they set up the Mishkan in the city of Gilgal. Arba Esrei Shana Shakaf Shulcholkul, throughout the 14 years that Klal Yisrael was busy conquering and dividing the land, the Mishkan was in Gilgal. Misham Baal Shilai, from there the Mishkan was moved to Shilai. Rabano Shambai Shalavonim, they built over there, it wasn't made out of krushim, out of cedar wood. As for the walls, it was actually made out of stone. Ofarsu Yiriyes HaMishkan Allah, they spread the skins, the covering for the Mishkan over these stone walls in Shilai. But Lahais Hashem Tikra, there wasn't a actual ceiling, a proper ceiling. It was made out of those Yiriyes of the Mishkan. Ushloish meyes v'shishim b'teisha shana amad mikdash Shilai. It was 369 years the Mishkan sat in Shilai. And by the way, today in Eretz Yisrael you have a yishuv which is called Shilai, and that is a yishuv which is actually very close to the spot of the original makom of Shilai. And those that live there claim to know where the makom of the Mishkan was and which spot it sat. Some estimated area. Now, Kishemes Eli Charav, when Eli was nifter the Kohen, it was destroyed. Obal and Noiv, the Mishkan went over to Noiv. Ubanu Sham Mikdash, and they built over there a Mikdash. Now, Shemei Shmuel, when Shmuel was nifter, Charav, that was destroyed. Obal Givain, obviously destroyed by our enemies. When Givain came, then they came to Givain, Obal Banu Sham Mikdash. When they Givain, from Givain, Baal the Beis Haylamim, they arrived. The Mishkan, the Arin arrived at its final place, the Beis Haylamim, the everlasting house. Now, V'yimei Noiv v'Givain, the days when the Mishkan was sitting in the city of Noiv and in Givain was 50 years. So it comes out, if we think about it, we make the calculation, we have 14 years in Gilgal, then we have Shilai 369 years, which comes out to 383 years. And then Noiv and Givain is another 50 years, comes out to 433 years.
Rabbi, Noiv is where the Kohanim was killed?
Yes.
And Givon it says Sheva v'Chamishim Shana. So 57.
I'm sorry, yes. I'm sorry. So that was 440 years of the Mishkan. From when they came to Eretz Yisrael, it was in different places for 440 years. Now, Halacha Gimel, Kima Shenivna Mikdash Yishalayim, once the Mikdash is built in Yishalayim, Nesru Kol HaBakoyim Kulam Limis Ben Bayis Hashem. All other places became forbidden to build a Bayis Hashem. Ulahakir Ben Carbon, not only to make a Bayis Hashem, but even just a Mizbeach. Lahakir Ben Carbon was also to do that anywhere else, meaning the concept of a Bama, of Bamas, people building their own private Mizbeachs. to bring on different types of karbanis became aser. The ancient Beis l'doida hadoidis el b'shalayim belfad.
All the high-speed mobile, what? That's what David used?
There's no more house for Hashem, for future generations, only in Yerushalayim. And in Yerushalayim itself, in Harem Miriah, like the pasuk says, "Vayomer David, Zehu Beis Hashem Elikim, Zeh Mizbeach La'oila Yisrael." This is Beis Hashem. It's a little noisy. I'm not sure where the noise is coming from. Maybe you can mute yourself. Now, the pasuk says, "Zois menuchasi." This is going to be my resting place, ad forever, and that is the makom in the Mikdash in Yerushalayim and Har Miriah. Halacha Daled, the Rambam continues, Binyan Shabana Shloima. The first Beis Hamikdash was built by Shlomo Melech. How was it built? You look in Sefer Malachim, it tells you how he built the Beis Hamikdash. V'chein binyan also the banis, as well the binyan which is going to be built in the future, the third Beis Hamikdash. If you look in Yecheskel, in the Prakim, the 40s, and the Mems, you have over there the way Hashem showed Yecheskel how the Beis Hamikdash is going to look. Einei meforish amavor. It's not clear. It's not very clear in Yecheskel on your own to understand it. Va'anshi ba'yisheni, when those that Kishabanim Ezra, when they built in the time when Ezra led up from the Goyla, he led up from the exile, Klal Yisrael, to come build the second Beis Hamikdash. Banuhu Kabin Shloima, they built it similar to the way Shlomo Melech built it. And similar to the clear things that were explicit in Yecheskel.
Yeah, but they didn't have the lochus. They didn't have the Aron for the second Beis Hamikdash.
Correct.
So Melech hid it somewhere.
Correct. So in the second Beis Hamikdash, they were missing certain things, and one of the main things they were missing was the Aron. And when the Kohen Gadol would go inside the Kodesh HaKadoshim on Yom Kippur, he would put the Ketores and he would do the Avodah on the Even HaShasiyah, because the Aron sat in the Kodesh HaKadoshim on the stone, the Even HaShasiyah, which according to many is the stone, that the dome that the Muslim built over. It's that stone, the Even HaShasiyah. And on that, the Aron sat on that stone. When there's no more an Aron, the Kohen Gadol would do the Avodah directly on that stone, on the Even HaShasiyah. Now, what are the main aspects of building this Beis LaHashem? What are the main parts of the structure? So the Rambam in Halacha Hey ve'elohim advarim shein ikar b'binyan habayis. These are the ikar things. Oisim by Kodesh. You make a section called Kodesh. It's holy. The Kodesh HaKadoshim. It's holy of holies. V'yil lefnei HaKodesh. Before the Kodesh, it should be a makim echad. V'hu hanikra ulam. Before there will be called a hall, which is called the ulam. U'shlashtam nekrayin heichal. They're all three together called heichal. You can see in the picture over here that here's the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Here's a section called Kodesh, and in front of it is a section called the Ulam, right over here. And all these three together have the term Heichel. We make another mechitza further around, all around the Heichel. This is similar to the curtains of the chotzer, of the courtyard that surrounded the Mishkan in the Midbar. Similar to that, we have this wall around the whole entire Heichel, the Ulam, the Kodesh, and the Kodesh HaKadoshim. B'chol hamuka b'mechitza zu, shukein chatzar oil made, hu anikra azara. Anything that was inside this area has a status of the Azara. We always hear about the Azara, the courtyard. This is all within these parameters. Hakoil nikra mikdash, and it's all this together is called mikdash. This is all included in the asuli mikdash. So that's the main part of that's the main mikdash. Actually, I'm sorry, it was a mistake when I was referring to the diagram. So you have, this is the outer perimeter is all around. This is where the wall is, all around the Beis Hamikdash. And here you have the Azara, the first section as of Yisrael, then as of Kohanim. Then you go in further and you have the Ulam, the Kodesh, and the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Now what do you have to build inside this structure? This is the main way the structure is set up, but what's built inside? What's the furniture? There are 7 main kelim built in the Mishkan. Mizbeach la'oila v'shar kabanis. We build a mizbeach to bring up the carbon oila and all other kabanis. The kevesh, and it has a ramp, sha'oilim b'oilam mizbeach. The Torah clearly mentions that you should be oila on a mizbeach, to the mizbeach on a kevesh on a ramp, not in steps. The spot is before of the Mizbeach, is in front of the Ulam. Right over here, you see how the Mizbeach is in front of the Ulam. The Mashuch Ladarim, it's pulled to the southern side. Over here is Darim south and Safa north. The Mizbeach is pulled towards the south side. The Rambam is going according to certain opinions. Other opinions hold the Mizbeach is exactly corresponding to the opening over here to the Ulam. The Pischei Shel Ulam. Right in front of the Pischei Shel Ulam, directly corresponding to that is the Mizbeach. According to the Rambam, it's a little bit pulled towards the left. The Kiyar, the Kanoi, the Kadishim and Kohanim, you have a kiyar, a special kiyar where Kohanim would wash. It had a base to it, and that's where the Kohanim were Makadesh. Yideim v'ragleim la'avoda. They were Makadesh their hands and their feet before they went to work on the Mizbeach inside the Mikdash. U'makoymai beina ulam v'lamizbeach. The spot of the kiyar is in between the ulam and the Mizbeach. Mashav Hadarim, towards the southern side, Shu Smoil, it's to the left of Anichas, the Mikdash, the one who enters the Mikdash. You see right over here, according to the Rambam, that's where the spot of the kiyar was, and we have here a picture of it actually, a diagram, I should say. Now, the Mizbeach, so that's already we have, now we have a Mizbeach with its kevesh, the ramp, and the kiyar, the kanoi. So we have the last line of Mizbeach l'ktoides. Then we have another Mizbeach, which is meant just for ketoides, for incense. It's not meant for karbanis. That's called in other places the Mizbeach hapnimi, the inside Mizbeach, because inside the kodesh. It's not outside like the other Mizbeach HaChitzin, which is outside in the Azara. There's also a menorah and a shulchan. The shlashtam b'toich HaKodesh l'fnei kodesh HaKadoshim. All three of these, the Mizbeach, the Ketoides, the menorah, and the shulchan, are all inside the kodesh, right over here, before the kodesh HaKadoshim, meaning they're in the second half of the Kodesh, closer to the Kodesh HaKadoshim. In the Kodesh itself, they are in the half closer towards, next to the Kodesh HaKadoshim. So it seems the Cheshbon here, the Rambam calculates 7 7 kalim. What are the 7 kalim? It seems right now, as we're learning, it's the mizbeach. The 7 main kalim are the mizbeach, hachitzain, the mizbeach for karbanis. It's ramp, it's kevesh. The kiyar, where they took water from the faucets. The kanoi, it's base, is 4. The mizbeach l'ktoides is 5. The mizbeach hapnimi. The menorah is 6. The shulchan, where they put the lechem upon him, on is 7. Those are all the 7 main kalim which were inside the Beis Hamikdash. Now, where exactly was the menorah and the shulchan? He's going to explain now in Halacha Zayin. HaMenorah bedarim, the menorah is on the left side. Bismoil nichnes, the left of one upon entering. The shulchan, the shulchan is on the right. Sha'olav on it is the lechem haponim. Ushnehem betzad kodesh hakadashim mechutz. Both of them are next to the kodesh hakadashim, but outside of it, not inside. Mizbeach haktoiris, the mizbeach for ktoiris moshe bein shem hachutz, is between both of them, towards the outside. Let's take a look. We'll scroll down to see the diagram here. We have a nice picture, and you see here the kodesh hakadashim. Here's the shulchan to the right. The menorah is to the left when you enter, and here is the mizbeach haktoiris, which is in between the two, actually corresponding directly to the kodesh hakadashim, but it's moved out and a little bit further towards the outside. But all 3 of these kalim are within the half of the kodesh, which is closer to the kodesh hakadashim. If you remember, we learned a week or 2 ago in Hilchas Tefillah, we learned that the Gemara brings that if someone wants to, someone wants to become smart, so he should tilt himself a little bit towards south when he davens, Shemoneh Esrei. Even in general, you're facing Mizrach, but you tilt a little bit to the Dharam. Someone who wants to become rich, Yatzpin, he should tilt himself towards the north. And the reason the Gemara explains is because when you're going to the left, you're facing towards the direction of the menorah. Menorah represents is the oyer, the light represents chachma, wisdom. So if you want to be wise, face towards that direction. If you want riches, the shulchan with the lechem upon him represents parnasa, the food, the parnasa, your table. So therefore you tilt a little bit towards the north, which is towards the direction of the shulchan. Now, back to a halacha zayin in the middle. In middle of the azara, we need to make sections. At Kan Yisrael, up until here, Yidden are allowed to go, Yisraelim. And that is considered Ezras Yisrael. That part is called Ezras Yisrael, the courtyard for Yisrael. Further in is the Ezras Koyanim, and then you have a limit, At Kan Koyanim. Until here, the Koyanim can go. This is only meant for Koyanim. Uboinim Abatim, in the Azara, they would build rooms. Bata means houses, but over here it means rooms. The Sha'ar Tzarech HaMikdash for other needs of the Mikdash. There were different needs. They need to make rooms to store things and to do different activities and to prepare things for the Karbanis, for the Ketairis, for all the different things that were happening in the Beis HaMikdash. Called Beis Mehem Nikr Lishka. Each one of them are called a Lishka. It's like an office. And there are many of them in the Azara. Halacha Ches, Kishabayim Heichel v'Azara, one builds the Heichel and the Azara. Bayim Avanim Gedolis, one builds large stones. Imloi Matsu Avanim, Bayim Belovenim. You don't find with stones, you build Levenim, which is bricks. Veimefatzlin is Avnei Abinya Barabayis, one does not cut the stones inside the house, in the Har HaBayis, on the mountain, on the part which is called the Har HaBayis, the mountain where the Beis Hamikdash is. They are prepared. These stones are fit and straightened out to the proper size outside the Har HaBayis. In the beginning, afterwards, are brought inside the Beis Hamikdash. Shenemar, like it says in the pasuk, Avanim Gedolos, Avanim Yekares, choose large stones, precious stones, Liyasad Habayis, to build the house, Avnei Gazis. For Omer it says, another pasuk, Umakoves V'Hagarzin. One should not have chisels and axes, kol kli barzel, no iron tools should be used. Should not be used within the Beis Hamikdash when you're building it. But it can be done outwards. Outside the Har HaBayis, they would do whatever they need to do. We see even today in the Kaisel Hamaravi, which is actually not one of the walls mentioned here, because we're talking about the Heichal Nazara, which is the actual Beis Hamikdash. But the walls of the Har HaBayis, you see how they use very large stones to build the walls of the Har HaBayis. You can see an example of how large these stones were. Now in Halacha Tes, Ein Boine by Eitz Boilet Klal, we do not build in it any wood sticking out. The Beis Hamikdash, Al Oi Ba'avanim, Oi B'Lavenim V'Sid. Only with stones or bricks. We do not make any bleachers, anything of wood, any structures of wood anywhere in the Azara.
Rabbi, how they cut everything? They need the shamir, right?
In the first Beis Hamikdash, they had a shamir.
The second?
No, they did not have a shamir. They had to cut it themselves. They had to cut it themselves. I'll just tell you something interesting. Based on the Chassidut, there's an explanation as to why we find that the Mishkan and the Mikdash were built, set up very differently. The Mishkan was built out of items that were not this world. It says in different Svarim, in many different Svarim and even Medrash, the materials and the items in this world can be divided by their life force into 4 categories of life. We have human beings, we have animal life, we have vegetation, and we have inanimate objects, which are like stones, the earth, which don't have any life to it, apparent life. So this is called, in Svarim, this is called Daimim. It's the lowest level. Daimim means it's silent. You don't see any life to it, like stones and the earth. Tsemeach, things that grow, vegetation. Chai, things that are alive, means animal life. And Medaber is the human being which can talk, as intelligent and can talk, and that's the Medaber. Now, we find a difference in what materials the Beis Hamikdash was built from and the Mishkan was built from. In the Mishkan, the main thing was, the way it was built was the Urios. There were skins that were built on the top, draping over the Mishkan. There were a number of skins. Skins come from a chai, from an animal. Lower than that were the krushim. The skin sat on the walls, which were the krushim, which were cedar trees, or beams of wood. Wood is vegetation. The bottom of the Mishkan was the earth, the ground, which was daimim. So it went down from higher to lower, from chai to tzemeach to daimim. In the Beis Hamikdash, the whole Beis Hamikdash was built from stone. There was no chai and there was no tzemeach. There was tzemeach you couldn't have any wood sticking out anywhere in the Beis Hamikdash, like we just read. And there were no skins over it. So what's the reason for this? So in a deeper outlook, there was a higher level of a relation of Hashem, of the Shekhinah, in the Beis Hamikdash, which was in Yerushalayim and Har Moriah. This became the like we read earlier. This is the Beis Eilamim. This became the spot forever for the Beis Hamikdash. Once Yerushalayim became the place of the Mishkan, the Mikdash, you're not allowed to have it anywhere else. This is its makim. So the level of Shekhinah that was resting in the Beis Hamikdash was a much higher level of Shekhinah that was resting in the Mishkan. There was much more godliness, elikus, resting in the Beis Hamikdash. Now, obviously, by the way, when we believe very strongly that Hashem is everywhere. Hashem is not only in the Beis Hamikdash. The Shekhinah is not only in the Beis Hamikdash. Maloi kol haaretz kavodai. Hashem is everywhere, but we're referring to where is it apparent, where is it revealed. So there are certain places where it's more revealed, more apparent. Those places are considered holier places. A shul is considered holier. A Beis Medrash, a Beis HaKnesses. The Beit HaMikdash is the holiest place that we have in the world where the Shekhinah rests in an apparent way. So we see there was more of a resting of the Shekhinah in the Beit HaMikdash than in the Mishkan. So the Alter Rebbe has a maimer in Torah Or, Parshas Vayigash, where he discusses this, and he explains that the level of Shekhinah, of godliness that was revealed in the Mishkan was on a lower level, and therefore wasn't able to penetrate the lowest levels of our life, of the world, in the way the level of the Shekhinah penetrated the world and revealed itself in the world in the Beit HaMikdash. And therefore, in the Mishkan, it started off with Chai, which is a higher level of life source. Then it went down to Tzemeach, which is the vegetation. And then lower down was the earth, just on what it was sitting on. But the Mishkan was primarily comprised of Chai and Tzemeach. Most of it was actually Tzemeach, which these were higher, these were our parts of our universe, of the world, which have more life force to them. However, the Beit HaMikdash was kol kulai avanim, because the level of Shekhinah that rested in the Mikdash was a much higher level of Shekhinah, and therefore was able to penetrate even into the domim, even into the inanimate objects, even into the stones, which are considered much lower level of life. In this world, the Shekhinah was able to be even in stones. And this was in the Beit HaMikdash. Now, moving along further, we see in Halacha Yud, the Rambam brings down, Umaratz bin kol azara, pavonim yikaris. We lay down on the floor of the Azara precious stones. Actually, over here it doesn't mean precious, it means yakar, meaning from the word heavy. Nekra even, if a stone became loose, even though it's still in its original spot, since it's moving around, it's not attached to the ground, it's possible to use for the Beis HaMikdash, for the floor, but also the kohen oived lamed alev shas avodah. It's also for a kohen who's doing the avodah to stand on it while he's doing the avodah, ash the kavabaris till it is set in the ground and it's not moving, because it had to be dafka in the ground. The best way to do the mitzvah is to make the building very strong, like and make it as high as possible, as much as people can afford and are able to. Shenemar l'reimim es Beis Elokeinu, to lift all up and exalt the Beis of Hashem, and we beautify it, so every generation beautifies the Beis Hamikdash based on their abilities. If they can, painted gold, all over painted gold, and make it more beautiful, that's also a mitzvah. Make it even nicer, make it all gold. It's made out of stone, but painted gold. To be a gold Beis Hamikdash, that's also a mitzvah. Halacha Yud Beis pertains to when we build the Beis Hamikdash. At what time? Ein bayim Beis Hamikdash b'layla. We don't build the Beis Hamikdash by night. Shenemar v'yoyim hakim es hamishkan. By yoyim mikimin, by day they would build the Beis Hamikdash v'lay b'layla. One's allowed to build from dawn until nightfall. You don't have to wait till sunrise. It's not sunrise to sunset, from Netzachama to Shkia. Rather, from Alois to Netzach Chava, which means from dawn until the stars come out. Everyone is obligated to build. All of Klal Yisrael has to build. To help them on their own. They're obligated to come help. Ba'atzmam, on their own, meaning with their own body, to come help build it. With their money, to help provide funds. Anashim v'nashim, men and women. Hamikdash Hamidbar, just like it was in the Mishkan, in the Midbar, also the Hamikdash in the Midbar, women also donated and helped whatever they could towards the building of the Mikdash. However, children are learning in yeshiva. We do not close down yeshiva in order to build the Beis Hamikdash. As well, in Beinin being a Beis Hamikdash Yom Tov, we do not build the Beis Hamikdash on Yom Tov for Shabbos. You can only build it during the week. Halacha Yigimal HaMizbeach Ein Oisin Oisel Bingen Avonim. Mizbeach, now returning to the Mizbeach. How was the Mizbeach built? So after we discussed, the Rambam discussed the general structure and what were the types of kalim that were in there. The Rambam then went back to discuss how the building itself was to be built out of stones, and what type of stones, and who has to build it when. He goes back to discuss the kalim. How the kalim should be made. The 7 kalim we mentioned. Hamizbeach eino yisnei bingen avonim. Mizbeach, you only make with stone. Shenemar v'atoira, mizbach adama tasali. It says you should make an earthen mizbeach for me. Well, that means is sheyeh mechuber ba'adama. That means it should be attached to the ground. It should not be built on top of archways or tunnels. It should be built on top of the ground. The mizbeach. When the Torah says, and if you will build a mizbeach of stone, seems to imply that you're not obligated to build the mizbeach out of stone. Pi hashmua. We have a halacha l'Moshe Sinai. We have a tradition. Lamdu she'einu shas, this im over here by Mizbeach Avonim is not telling you that it's not obligatory. Rather, it's a choiv. It means, and you have to build the Mizbeach with stone. Now, what type of stones? Called Evan Shenivgema Kidei Shetachker Batzi Poiden. There was very high standards for what type of stones could be used to build the Mizbeach. If there was a little pegam, a blemish on it, it already become puzzle. Both for Mizbeach and both for the kevesh, the ramp. What does it mean, a pegam? Just like a shchita, when How does a shaychet check his chalif to make sure that it's still kosher for shechita? He has to make sure there's no pagam. He takes his nail and he runs his nail across the sharp edge of the chalif, and he sees if this nail feels any bumps. Is his nail getting caught into a tiny hole? Then we know that there's a problem with the chalif. The chalif needs to be sharpened again and make sure it's completely sharp without any even slight crevices. As well, these avanim that the mizbeach were built with had to be perfect. Shenemar avanim shleimos, complete avanim, nothing missing. Tibna is based mizbeach Hashem. Mizbeach Hashem. That's how you should build the mizbeach of Hashem. Where would they bring these stones? Psulas hakarka. They bring them from bedrock, from ground that was never used. Stones that are sitting in the ground that we know were never used by human beings, untouched. They would dig into the ground till deep enough to a place that no one ever built or dug in this spot. It's clear from the way the ground looks that it's never been uncovered. We remove the stones from the ground. Or you mean hayam, hagadol, or another eitzah that Rambam says you can use stones that are in the sea. On the bottom of the sea there are stones. Or ba'in behen, you can use these stones. Not only the stones of the Mizbeach, we learn out from these stones that also the stones of the Heichol, of the walls of the Heichol, and the walls of the Azara were Shleimus Hayo, they were complete stones. There also had to be perfect stones. However, there's a difference between the two. The stones that were used for the Mizbeach, you were not allowed to ever have a stone, iron touch it. So they would have to take from a place in the ground that was never used, or from the inside, from the sea. So we know that iron didn't touch it, a kli barzel. On the other hand, the stones that were used for the walls of the Heichol Nazara, even they also had to be shleimos and complete, like the avanim that were used for the Mizbeach. However, you could build with iron, just it had to be done not outside the Harabayis. You can chisel them and straighten them out and make them complete outside the Harabayis and then bring them in. You can't have the sound of iron chiseling away inside the Beis Hamikdash. But outside it's fine. But the Mizbeach was not that way. The Mizbeach was not allowed to have any iron touching it. Halachat Ezvav Avnei Heichel Azaris, these stones, Shenifgemu Anigmu, something happened to them, that somehow they got a pagam. They got a blemish, or shenigmu. For some reason, they wore out with the time, so they got ruined. They're not sold, and they cannot be used for common use. They have to put in geniza like in shemis. Any stone which touched iron, even though the touching of it did not make it have any pagam, any blemish, when it comes psul to being a mizbeach or being a kevish, it comes pus, like we said before, for the mizbeach and for the ramp. Shenemar kicharbecha hinafta aleha etachal. If you use your sword, meaning a metal, a utensil, tool, used on the mizbeach, etachal aleha, It's mechalol the mizbeach. V'habayina even shenaga b'bazel b'mizbeach. Kevesh loik is someone who builds a stone which had touched iron in the mizbeach or the kevesh. He gets malchus. Shenemar loy sivna esen gozis. V'habayina even peguma pogum over b'essay. He's over an essay and a loisasa.
Rabbi, we have somebody like Bezalel will conduct all this?
1 second, I just want to say I made a mistake here, I want to make it clear. If you put in a stone, you build in the Mizbeach a stone, which touched barzel, iron, even though it didn't make up a gam to it, but it touched a clay barzel, you did it b'mezid, on purpose, you like it. However, if you built a stone which was not complete, it had a pagama blemish, not because it touched an iron tool. You got a blemish another way, and you put it into be part of the mizbeach. That is not a loisasa, but over be'essay. You're over in a mitzvah essay. If you do that. Now, what was Rabbi Zar? What was your question?
Are we going to have Emetz Hashem in this Bet HaMikdash somebody like Bezalel?
We better have someone like Betzalel because
they're going to do it.
We don't know what we're doing, so we're going to have to need someone who's going to tell us. Mashiach will most probably tell us and set up someone who will be the contractor. The famous old joke is that, you know, how come it's taking so many years for the third Beis Hamikdash to be built? To be contractor. That's what's taking 2,000 years.
In the old city, they have all of the clay mikdash, almost all of them ready.
Yeah, it's true. There are groups of individuals. What are they called again? What's the name?
Mechon Hamikdash.
Mechon Hamikdash. I think you can view it, right? You can go and see it.
Yeah.
They have some sort of museum, and there's certain people that are getting ready. They're really waiting for Mashiach, and they're getting ready their various kalim for the Beit HaMikdash.
They have a menorah that's mikshesa of it, costs millions of dollars.
Oh, wow. Wow. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Very interesting, fascinating.
Some kelim is in Rome, no?
The ones from the Bayit Sheni, but we don't know what the Vatican has. The Vatican's not saying, they're not showing. I think they're afraid of some lawsuits, but they're not showing anyone what's down there in the basements. The Vatican's a very old building, you know. It's been around all this time.
Why they don't send the Mossad?
The Mossad is busy with other things. They're busy with the virus. They're busy with other things. But they definitely have a lot of manuscripts we know of Sfarim and different things there. Kisvei Yad and are found there. They have a lot of Sifrei Torah and different things there. These were things were stolen from Jewish communities. We don't know what's there. There's been many books about it. I think there's a fellow in YU. I'm trying to remember his name. Benjamin something. He's written some books about.
Rabbi Blech.
Yeah, Benjamin Bleich or something. Bleich.
Bleich, yeah, Bleich.
Yeah, not to be confused. There's another Rabbi Bleich, who is the like Rosh Koilel. He's written J. David Bleich. He's written many Sfarim and Halacha. There's another Benjamin. I think his name is Benjamin Bleich.
Right.
Who has written he's written some books about the Menorah and about things about. He had some connections to the Vatican, and he'd been working for many years.
He tells a story. He tells a story that on one of his tours, he asked the guide, who is a high official, you know, they didn't appoint just anybody. So he asked him, how many pieces of Judaica do they have here in the Vatican Library. So he thought about it, and I'm not sure if he got back to him, but the answer was 6 million.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Vatican's been coming open a little bit more recently. You know, different things have been coming out, documents and things. So who knows what will be one day if they'll allow us to see more. The Holocaust documents came out recently, so a lot of researchers have been looking into that.
Some of them, not all.
Uh-huh.
Some of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to just let's finish up about the Mizbeach, and maybe another time, if we'll have another opportunity, we'll learn about other halachas. Evan shenifke me shenagvar bazel acha shemis ma Mizbeach. Oysa evan psulu ashar kshelis. If you had a certain stone, while it was built into the Mizbeach, somehow Barzel touched it, or it got a blemish. It doesn't ruin the entire Mizbeach, it's only that stone that needs to be removed. Mizbeach, Hamayim Bashana. They would pour cement over the Mizbeach 2 times a year. Pesach and Mechag, Chag is Sukkot. The way how they would smear the cement over it, the plaster would be with a towel. They would not use the regular tool, which was you always see them.
A trowel.
Trowel, that's how we take when you want to smooth out plaster or cement, because it's a metal keli that cannot be used. So it has to be done with a garment.
With a garment? A garment.
Yeah. Halacha Yud Zayin, like a towel. Halacha Yud Zayin. Wait,
let me ask you, could you put a piece of metal inside the cloth and use that to give it some strength? Would that be permitted?
That's a very good question. It's
Not
excellent.
supposed to use any iron, any barzel.
But he's asking what happens if it's not directly touching it. I don't know.
Let's build it, we'll know. When we build it, we'll know.
It's an excellent question. I mean, it's probably they wouldn't do it because if by mistake the barzel did touch it, it would make a lot of problems. But it's definitely a good question theoretically as to whether that's permissible or not. It's definitely a good shaila. Just want to finish off regarding the ramp halacha Yud Zayin. We don't make steps to the Mizbeach. Shenemar, we have a clear pasuk. V'lei taleb b'mailot al mizbechi. Should not go up with steps to my Mizbeach. Alaboinim k'meitel. We make sort of like a hill. B'droimish Mizbeach. The sun is
a ramp. It was a ramp.
It was a ramp. It's mayit v'yored. It goes lower down from the Rosh Mizbeach ad aretz till the ground. Who anikar kevesh? Someone who builds steps and goes up on those steps to the Mizbeach, like he receives Malkus because he was over on a Loisas and the Torah.
It's got snoot, right?
It was very long. It was 32
No,
hours.
I'm saying
it was
the keves is for snoot.
Yes.
Not to look at the legs with the Kohanim when they go up.
Correct. The Kohanim didn't wear pants.
They didn't wear pants. They had like
they had pants, but they didn't. Still in all, even you wearing pants, when the feet are split, when you have to walk up steps, so your feet open up more, wider, that's considered immodest for the Mizbeach, and you should go up in a more modest fashion. Someone who chips off a stone. He wants to take a little piece of a stone. He wants to take a little piece home with him.
As a souvenir.
Souvenir for the Mizbeach. For anywhere in the Heichel, or from the area from between the Ulam and the Mizbeach. Derech hashchasa, if it's done, not done for the purpose of trying to smooth it out and to help the mizbeach, but you're trying to, it's ruining the mizbeach. Like it, one would receive malkush and everybody tats them as b'chaysam. Loi sas unkein l'Hashem alekeim. One should not do that to ruin, destroy the Hashem's mizbeach. And for this concludes the discussion of the first keli of the seven, actually the first two, the mizbeach and the kevesh, the first of the seven kelim the Rambam mentions. And afterwards the Rambam is going to continue on to the menorah, the shulchan, mizbeach, and also the kiyar, all the other kelim he'll explain further on in this parak.
We're almost ready.
And that's Hashem, yeah. Now we know what to do, so Mashiach could come. So
Okay.
Bye, Halavai Shai. The
This-
Hechtav Shai.
Amen. Amen.
It should be days of sasan and simcha.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
The Karam Amish.
The Kurban Mamish.
Okay, I want to wish everyone a good night.
Thank
Good
you
job.
so much. Right, thank you. Good Shabbos.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Good job. Good job.
Shabbos Nevrochem, Shabbos Chazak.
Yashikoach.